So I've done a couple of videos with regard to preventative maintenance on the Waydoo EVO, and I started by using their approach, meaning a little bit of grease on the motor to mast connection. I got a little bit of corrosion after doing that, so I proceeded to start taking the motor and the mast apart very, very frequently after every day of riding, making sure that it was clean and dry. That also caused some problems. Some of the pin connectors that are in that electrical connection came loose, and Waydoo actually warrantied the motor because of this. I am now trying a new approach, which is a ton of grease and leaving it together for a longer period of time. So I have had the motor together with the mast now for 1 solid month, 22 sessions, 242 miles, and about 17 hours of riding. We're about to take it apart and see how it looks. First thing I'm going to look at is in the prop area. So I take the prop off. I want to show you what I've done. A lot of grease in there, and it frankly still looks pretty darn good. Next thing I'm going to do is disassemble the rest of this here, see how it looks inside. Remember, this is a reverse thread. Now I've got some water in there, but I was riding this morning, and if we have a look, looks pretty good. All right, here comes the disassembly of the rest of it, taking the mast off the motor. And the moment of truth. So I think it is pretty clear that my approach worked perfectly fine. Using Waydoo's recommendation, which was to leave it assembled, they actually said for 6 months. I left it for 1 month just to see how are we doing as a spot check. But based on what I see here, I will leave it assembled. Next thing I'm going to show you what I'm going to do before I reassemble it. I'm going to put a lot of grease in there. Okay, let's talk about grease. So first off, I'm going to use a dielectric silicone, and Waydoo says to put that around this area, and so I'm going to do that. In other words, put it all the way around. I'm going to use a lot because I really don't want water in there. I'm going to go above and beyond though, and I'm going to fill all of these connectors with grease. Now when I put everything together, I'm going to do that very slowly so that comes out nicely and doesn't, force and cause any issues. But this is what I did a month ago, and it seemed to have a pretty good effect. So we're getting dielectric on everything. A lot of silicone grease in here. That should do the trick. I'm going to use my favorite marine grease, whatever yours is. This is a Yamaha, whatever. And I'm going to put that on all of the other surfaces. And we've got a bunch of bolts sticking up here. And this doesn't have to be real thick, but I'm just going to put it here and there. We got some threads in here where bolts are coming down in. And we're going to get a bunch of that Yamaha grease in here. And I'm going to make sure I don't mix it in with the silicone. Right, those are going to stay separate. But I am just putting grease on every single metal surface because, again, I ride in a hypersalinated environment and I don't want it to rust. So get a bunch of grease on that, really kind of on everything. And I am going to do the same on the mast. So here on the mast, I've got enough of the dielectric silicone everywhere, but the marine grease, I'm going to put that on all these metal surfaces, I know there's no bolt sticking up. Well, there's a couple here and there, but stuff rusts here. I joke that plastic rusts here. And, you know, stainless steel most certainly rusts here. I have stainless steel bolts on, you know, decks and things like that, and they rust. Now for the assembly, we're going to do that slowly, right? Really set that down there calmly. There's a lot of grease in there. That's going to take a little bit to kind of come out. That'll work. Grab our couple of bolts, and same thing. I know I put some grease all over all that stuff already, but I'm going to put some grease on those threads. That should do it. So in addition to all of those other connection points, you know, I'm putting a little bit of the marine grease on the heads of every single one of these bolts. Even if you have no intention of taking the guard off, I would recommend taking the guard off when your foil is brand new or wherever you are right now. And same thing, some of our marine grease all over. Grease everything. When I put the prop back on, I'm going to make sure there's plenty of grease in this area too. Perfect. Looks good.